Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? It's your boy, the Doc, and we have a ton of injuries to talk about prior to week 10, so let's just jump into it. In this week's video, we are going to be rapid firing through as many injury situations as I can get through in as short amount of time as possible, and we're starting with James Cook, the Bills running back. Now, he has an ankle injury, did not practice on Wednesday, which is concerning, but he did see a 76% snap share last week. I would expect that James Cook would be able to play this week, but I'm not going to just stop monitoring this situation. It does sound like he's getting banged up as the year goes along. If he were to miss time, Ty Johnson appears to be the running back that you would want to roster in fantasy if James Cook cannot go. But let's talk about Aaron Jones. He has an AC sprain, played probably his best game of the year last week, but did not practice on Wednesday. He did come out of the game late, but the reports are that this sprain is mild. I still think there's a pretty good chance that he plays despite missing some practice time. Little tidbit, the Ravens didn't have anybody on the practice report on Wednesday. No names. We do not see that very often, especially this far into the season. They are healthy. We expect them to play a little bit better going forward. Rico Dowdle has a quad injury that caused him to miss practice on Wednesday, but head coach Dave Canales has already come out and said the team is counting on him this weekend, so I doubt that this is serious. He is going to be the starter going forward. He's just thoroughly outplayed Chuba Hubbard at this point. Perhaps the most interesting injury situation that we are monitoring this week is Bucky Irving. He has a foot and shoulder injury. He did not practice on Wednesday, and it's pretty disappointing because I really expected him coming out of the bye to be able to practice to start the week. A DNP to start the week, definitely discouraging, not something that we wanted to see, and we really don't have any tangible evidence about what is going on with Bucky Irving right now, what he is dealing with outside of the fact that it is his foot and his shoulder. So yeah, I don't really know what to say. We will just continue to wait and see on Bucky Irving, but it's not looking good for this week. As for his teammate Chris Godwin, he has a fibula injury, which is dating back to his injury from last year. Yeah, I mean, if you want my opinions on this, just go watch my preseason video about Chris Godwin, and that will tell you all you need to know. Don't expect him to play this week. Kayshon Boutte has a hamstring strain, did not practice. He's already come out and said that this is a grade 1 injury, typically looking at about a 2 to 3 week recovery timeline. Unlikely that he plays this week. Ramondre Stevenson has a toe issue. Now, he didn't practice on Wednesday, and he missed practice all week last week, ended up missing the game. So no practice again to start this week. Not encouraging. Would expect him to miss this week as well. And of course, we have to deal with Travion Henderson and his usage being pretty disappointing thus far this year. Really thought that we were going to see him explode last week. Without Ramondre Stevenson, we'll see if maybe this is the week. Now, Jaden Daniels had probably the grossest injury of the week with an elbow dislocation, not practicing to start the week, but I would be surprised if he is not placed on IR with this. It's not a good sign that his elbow was completely dislocated, but it is a good sign that the x-rays actually came back negative. It's possible that there's no structural damage with this, but even if that's the case, I highly doubt that we see him prior to the team's week 12 bye. So it's possible maybe if they think he can be back after that they won't put him on IR. But again, this is a pretty serious injury. Don't expect him to play. Now, his teammate Terry McLaurin has a quad strain that he re-injured. Not really much has changed about this. I talked about it last week. I still think he's going to miss some significant time with this. Don't expect him to play. Brian Thomas Jr. has an ankle injury, didn't practice to start the week. We're keeping an eye on it. We'll see what happens. He did not play well last week. We'll see if he can come back this week. We don't have a lot of info on it yet, but again, if he's playing, you're probably putting him in the lineup with no Travis Hunter. CJ Stroud has a concussion, did not practice to start the week. No practice on Wednesday typically means that they are not going to play on Sunday when we're dealing with a concussion, so just go ahead and find a backup plan now. Puka Nacua has a chest injury. He is expected to play, and this was never really considered a serious injury. X-rays came back negative, so he didn't have any fractures or anything. Kind of landed awkwardly on the ball, took a shot. Again, he's a superstar when he's playing, but I'm starting to worry about his durability a bit. This happens way too often where he just gets hurt and then doesn't finish games. Garrett Wilson has a knee sprain that has caused him to miss time since week 6. The team held him out through the bye, and he is back practicing in a limited capacity, which is good. We like to see that. Again, limited work to start the week. If he can keep that up, there's a good chance that he could return this week. If he doesn't, definitely by the end of next week. We have a ton of guys on the Bears. Honestly, could have probably did a whole episode on just the Bears. First up, we got DJ Moore. He's got a hip and groin injury. He's missed multiple practices over the last few weeks, but he's always played. I'd expect the same this week. Roma Dunze has an ankle and a heel issue. Did not practice on Wednesday. He missed last week. Wait, no, he didn't miss last week, but he did drop a big fat 0 for our fantasy squads, which we hate. I wonder if that has something to do with this ankle injury. Again, he's dealing with this ankle injury prior to last week, but it wasn't really considered serious. He's a boom bust option until we can find out if he is 100% healthy and back at full speed. I have a hard time trusting him. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai, the two running backs, are both saying that they're going to play this week despite showing up on the injury report being limited. It really is just a question of what does this workload look like after Kyle Monangai really just looked way better than DeAndre Swift in the exact same role last week. I'll be really curious to see what this backfield shakes out as. Cole Kmet had a concussion. He is back practicing in a limited capacity, so there is a chance that he could play. I just always find it funny when players whose replacements blow up while they are out seem to heal at warp speed. I know it's a competitive game, but I just find it really amusing when a guy gets thoroughly outplayed by his replacement, and then all of a sudden he's healthy and he's ready to go. Michael Pittman has a glute injury of some sort. The Colts, though, are notorious for resting veterans on Wednesdays. As long as he's back practicing by Friday, I think he will be fine. Now, we do have some injuries to talk about for the Monday game, which is difficult for me because I don't have a lot of information to base this stuff off of for Monday's game. So this is just, basically an educated guess. AJ Brown dealing with a hamstring strain. They're calling it a strain, but it really just tightened up on him prior to week 8. He missed that game, then got the bye. He's coming back in week 10. Ian Rappaport has already said that they expect him back this week. Even though it's positive news, I'm still preparing a backup just in case. Hamstrings can be tricky. They can kind of flare back up in the 2 weeks prior to them returning to full speed. So again, if you have somebody that you can kind of slot in, if AJ Brown were to be a late scratch on Monday, I don't mind playing him, but I also don't mind finding a good replacement for him. If you have one on the bench, that's a surefire thing to play. As for Saquon Barkley, he has a groin injury that the team is considering not serious. There's a good chance that he plays, but as of right now, I can only say it's probably a 50-50 chance because I just don't have a lot of information on it. Coming off a little bit of rest, we'll see if he can come back and be effective at 100%. And then probably the biggest bummer of the week, Tucker Kraft has an ACL tear. He is done for the season, so you can drop him. I want to take a minute and thank our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Let's say your fantasy season is already a bust. There's no chance that you make the playoffs. The fantasy season does not have to be over. You can keep playing fantasy over at Underdog. Use the code HEADLINERS and make sure that you let them know that we sent you. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed this more rapid fire format where we got a lot of names out. And look, I get it. The formats of these videos have changed. This season's been a little different in terms of the injury updates on the show. If you can't tell, I've got a lot of things changing in my life right now. I've been very busy with a move. We moved houses and I had an ankle surgery and my wife is super pregnant. So there's a lot of big life things happening behind the scenes on my end. So we just don't do as many injury updates this year. And I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry that I'm busy in life, but I'm sorry that I can't do videos each and every week like you guys have come to expect over the years. But hopefully next year it will be a little bit better and easier. But again, I appreciate everybody who is still tuning into these videos, still liking the videos, subscribing to the channel. It helps us out a ton. And if you haven't, make sure you hit the join button down below. Become a member of Headliner Nation. Become an exclusive member of our Discord where you can get injury updates each and every week prior to the game starting. I'm always answering questions over there as well. So if I don't get to a question in your comments, maybe the best place to get a hold of me is going to be through the Discord each and every day. Even our lowest tier of the joined memberships have access to asking me questions about injuries. So it's a great way to quickly get injury info and injury opinions without needing to spend a ton of money. So if you want to, if you feel like supporting the channel in that way, please hit the join button down below. But that's it for this week, and I will see you guys next time.